Hi y'all, this entire footage is unedited. Well, mostly unedited because I did not have enough time. And also, I did a bunch of improv stuff that wasn't there because I didn't realize that stuff was kind of ugly sounding because this is pretty much just a first draft. So it's not exactly what I wrote, but it's fine. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of different words and mess ups. I love y'all. And my upload schedule is every 2 weeks now instead of every week because I think that I can keep that up better. There wasn't a place that Cassius wanted to be less than in the library. Not because he hated books. He loved books. He would love the opportunity to be in the library after hours and read as many books as he could. But no, he had to be trapped with Aiden, Mason, Maya, and Willow, the popular kids, the bullies, who made fun of him for reading books and for breathing the wrong way. And if he tried to read here, it would be social suicide. He was sitting down at one of the library tables, a wooden table, and was holding a book. It was the last book in his favorite fantasy series, and he couldn't wait to read it, but he was going to have to wait, knowing that he couldn't read it with them around. Someone, Maya, sat at the chair in front of him. "So, Cass, what are you reading?" Maya asked, in the tone that made him know she wasn't interested. "Nothing," he said, holding the book closer to his chest. "Are you sure that's nothing?" Maya asked, reaching across the table to poke the book. "Because I'm pretty sure that's a book." "Nothing you'd like," he corrected. "You don't know that," she said, laughing. Cassius knew what she was playing at. She had done it before. She was trying to get him to rant about his book so she could make fun of him for his interests. He refused to fall for it. He would never fall for it again. He narrowed his eyes. "I do. Last time you asked me, and I told you. You made fun of me for reading it," he said, attempting to sound angry. He sounded more like a 4-year-old playing pretend. "I was just teasing you," Maya crossed her arms. "It's not my fault you can't take a joke." He wasn't going to fall for it. He wasn't going to say anything. He opened his mouth to say something, only for him to be interrupted by a voice. Willow. "Hi, Maya." "Hey, nerd," she said. Cassius sighed but looked at her. "What do you want?" he snapped. Willow raised her arms. "No reason for you to be hostile." There were many reasons for him to be hostile. "I just want your guys' help." Cassius noticed something out of the corner of his eye. Maya was blushing at the admission. He wasn't going to say anything about it. "What do you need?" And why should he care? She had done nothing but bully him the entire time he'd been at the school. And he was in 8th grade. "We're going to break into the back room of the library." Cassius' eyes widened and his eyebrows jumped. "You're going to do what?" he screamed. "I think you heard us. That's illegal," he said. "They're going to get arrested." "Well, we're already here," Maya said, and Cassius growled. "I am not going to be a part of this," he said, crossing his arms. There were cameras in the library, which meant if he sat it out, they would see him doing that, and he wouldn't be punished. "Come on, loser," Maya said, getting up and walking over to him. Don't you want to know what's back there?" He did, even if he knew that there was nothing interesting in there. Maybe some books that hadn't been put on the shelf, which would be exciting, and then, while he was thinking, Maya yanked the book out of his hands. "Hey!" he shouted. "Give that back!" He attempted to yank the book back. "Not until you agree." He would wait. But it was spring break. They were surviving from snacks in the fridge. The librarian, Miss Jackie, was a cool person. She'd bought a mini fridge and let the kids use it to store their stuff. So it would be cold when they wanted to drink it at lunch or break. And during that entire time, they weren't going to leave him alone, were they? "Fine, damn it," he hissed. Willow fake gasped. "I didn't know the nerd could swear." "Now give it to me," he said, holding out his arms. "Not until we actually break in. Or try to. You could be lying." He hadn't been planning to just lie, but of course it couldn't just be simple. "Fine," he said, getting up. The three of them walked over to the rest of the group, who were next to the back room door. "You got the nerd over here?" Aiden said, smiling. Cassius shrunk in on himself. He really didn't want to be here. They're going to be arrested when the staff found out they broke down the door. But then they wouldn't give his book back. They might tear it, and he couldn't afford to get another one. What if they broke it? His mom would be so disappointed. "Yeah, I did," Maya said, interrupting his thoughts. "We did," Willow corrected, and Maya nodded, holding her hand. If they were making him break into the back of the library, he would think that was kind of cute. But since they were, he hoped they never confessed to each other. And if they did, that they broke up. "Now how are we going to break this thing down?" Mason asked. "We're just going to kick it, duh," Aiden said, and then he kicked the door. It did not break. Not like Cassius had believed it was going to break. He was grateful it hadn't. That meant that they technically hadn't done anything wrong. If it wasn't broken, then maybe they wouldn't be punished. "I'll try again," Aiden said, kicking the door down kicking the door again. It was not going to break, which he was thankful for. He really didn't want to be involved with this. Maybe we both hit at the same time, Maya suggested. No, that's dumb, Mason said. Try hitting the lock. It should be easier to break down than breaking the door. Okay, Aiden said, kicking the lock. The silver lock dropped to the ground with a loud thud. No, Cassius's heart sank. They had managed to get in. Can I go now? He asked Maya, who left. Nope, you have to help us explore. Of course he did, because Cassius couldn't have anything in life, could he? Come on, Cassius, Aiden said. We're already in. It wouldn't do any harm to go inside. It would, but if he didn't, he wouldn't have his book back. And he couldn't guarantee they'd take care of it. Fine, he hissed, and the five of them made their way into the room. The back room was dark, but he could still see it in there. There was a bookshelf, too, actually, and in the middle of the room was a computer. It had a blue screen with eyes and a cartoonish smile. What was that about? Hello, someone said from somewhere. Cassius flinched back. Was one of the adults here? The five of them looked around but didn't see anything. Where did that voice come from? Maya asked. He didn't know. None of them knew. There were no place for someone to hide in the back room, but it seemed like they were. Here, the voice said, and there was a waving hand on the screen of the computer. Was the person in the computer, like, on a call or something? Cassius stepped closer. You on a call? Or something like that? The waving hand disappeared and was replaced by the face from before. No, silly, I am the computer. What? What do you mean by you are the computer? Aiden asked, his arms crossed. He clearly didn't believe it. I am the library AI, it said. I keep track of books, employees, and more. Our school has an AI dedicated to the library? Cassius made an offended noise. If there was any place in the school he thought deserved to have an AI take care of it, it was this place. The library is one of the greatest places in the school, the AI said, and Cassius nodded. I am meant to take care of it. The AI paused, and the screen turned red. And you broke down a door. And you broke a lock. Cassius flinched. He knew this wasn't a good idea. Well, we just wanted to see what was inside, Aiden said, sweating. And you stole something. What? We didn't steal anything, Mason argued. Then the AI asked, what is Maya holding? Everyone looked at Maya. She was holding his book. That's one of Cassius's books, not a library book. I know, the AI said. I have access to the cameras. You stole it from him, then forced him to help you break down the door. And I don't like that. The AI had access to the cameras? Oh, that meant it knew that he didn't want to be here. It was just a joke, Maya argued. There's nothing funny about bullying a kid for wanting to read, the AI said. And no one had ever stood up for Cassius before. And forcing him to help you commit a crime if he wants his property back. Maya made an attempt to interject, but the AI continued. Now, I'm going to give you a choice. You're going to give him back his book, or your parents are going to be informed of the damages. Maya turned, ready to hand Cassius back the book, but Willow stopped her, putting a hand between them. The cameras will still show that we broke the lock, Willow pointed out, staring at the computer. How would you ensure our parents aren't notified if we do hand him the book back? It was a good point, really. But he wanted his book back. With my access to the camera footage, the AI said, flashing the footage of them roaming around the library, that means I can delete it and simply blame it on an error. The lock is still broken, Willow said, crossing her arms. You will simply say that someone broke in. And then the five of you ran and hid. And then he broke the lock to come in here. And I will back you up. The AI's face changed to an exclamation point. And I'll tell them that he erased the camera footage to avoid being caught. Willow still looked unsure, but nodded, and Maya handed him his book back. Now, please leave. The five of them shuffled out of the room. Maya, Willow, Aiden, and Mason started talking, but Cassius just sat back at a table, thinking about what happened.